So, hello and welcome to another episode of Cúilín Media, where we discuss what went on during the weekend. Quite enough weekend, in fairness, but the intermediate and junior finals took precedence this weekend. A few retirements here and there as well, and the last stages of the pre-season competitions before the league kicks off in 2 weeks' time. Delighted to be joined by Liam White and Aaron Prendergast to discuss this weekend's action and a bit of news stories that caught the headlines this weekend as well. We're without Seamus this week, but I'm sure we'll hold the fort for this episode. Liam, you were banned slow today for Offaly against Galway in the Walsh Cup. Pretty bad day for it, I would say, in terms of weather. It was, excuse my French, pissing out in terms of the rain. But yeah, I suppose a decent enough game where Offaly fell just short today.
Yeah, I suppose so. It was, I don't know who I felt more sorry for, me for standing on the hill because you're cold and you're standing there, or the players having to catch a slitter and run around in shorts. But no, it was, it wasn't an ideal day for hurling. It's, I don't think anything today was going to particularly prepare you for, games in April, May, June, July, or anything like that, to be honest with you. But look, it was nice to see inter-county action back from our perspective in the hurling. And, there were some good performers today that, we'll get into in a little while. The footballers yesterday didn't have a great day either against Westmeath in the football. But I suppose on the other perspective, it now gives managements, 2 weeks to prepare for the league campaign. They don't have to worry about matches next weekend or anything like that. And they can kind of just, focus now on trying to get lads back fit and injury-free and everything like that. But no, look, it was nice to be back at games today anyways. And the Supermax on the way home was lovely, so big shout out to the Ballinasloe Supermax. But yeah, no, it was a nice day out, and still, and looking forward to the rest of the season and getting into the action this weekend.
Exactly so, and Aaron, it wasn't a good weekend for the Dublin footballers, obviously losing to Kildare. But then again, many managers have said this past weekend, I was speaking to John Cleary after the Limerick game, and basically he said that, look, they're trying out new players, they're not really trying to win games, if that's kind of a word, in this kind of time. They want to gear up for the league. I suppose it is kind of the same for Dublin, and to be fair, it's probably the same for every county across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like obviously we were all together yesterday, filming the in studio episode for the National Football League preview. So anyone who's tuning in, keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, didn't see the game as a result because it was on the way home when it was taking place. But you were kind of keeping an eye on the score. Like, I think Dublin were 3 up at halftime, and you were thinking this is pretty decent. And then in the second half, I think Kildare just ran riot really. But yeah, like when you look at the team that was out again, it was probably like Dublin's 4th string team, maybe. Like maybe a few players who might maybe break into the first team. And I was looking at Kildare's team as well. I had like Alex Byrne and like a lot of the kind of senior players. Probably not their best team either, but certainly closer to their best team than Dublin would have been. So yeah, it's at the end of the day, pre-season's all about getting up to speed, and it doesn't really matter too much these games. I've saw Dublin's 4, 5, and 6 in a row teams losing the O'Byrne Cup to Wexford and Longford and all these kind of teams. So it doesn't really mean anything. It's a great opportunity for the lads. They'll still get another game, I think, in the Shield as well. So it's mostly just about the game time really.
Yeah, exactly. So we will probably discuss the pre-season competitions in just a while, as well as the All-Ireland Intermediate and Junior Club Finals. But bit of housekeeping starting off, lads. And there was a retirement during the week for Laura Tracy, the Cork Camogie legend, obviously brilliant centre-back over the last few years for Cork. Not just, we're talking about olden days in terms of retirements, but Laura was still 29, 30 years of age, still at the top of her prime, still an absolutely incredible player. And to be honest, it was a shock to me that she hung up the boots in many ways. Obviously, as I mentioned, 29, 30 years of age. She made her debut for the Cork Camogie team back in 2014 at the age of 18 or 19 years of age. 6 All-Ireland titles, 4 All-Stars. What an achievement for Laura, and what a defender for that Cork team over the last few years, with the likes of Laura Hayes back there as well, and the like Pamela Mackey, etc. as well. So what a career that Laura Tracy had. And even towards the end of her career, Liam, she was still one of the best defenders in the game of camogie.
Yeah, she absolutely was. I suppose, look, it's kind of a tricky one. It's kind of similar maybe to like Brian Fenton retiring at the age he did. I suppose when you've won a bunch of All-Irelands and you have a bunch of All-Stars, I suppose the thing is you can start to wonder, right, do I have the motivation to keep on going? Do I have the motivation to go and win another one? And in fairness, maybe she does, or maybe she just thinks, you know what, I'm quite content with winning 6 All Irelands. It isn't exactly too bad, to be fair, to look back on a career and winning 4 All Stars. But no, a towering defender, absolutely fantastic at her role, and like you mentioned there, going in at such a young age as well. And she imposed herself very, very quickly into the panel, and yeah, she's been an ever stay in that panel over the last number of years. I believe it was Paudie Murray that had her in at the start of her career. Fantastic to get her on board. But yeah, look, to win her first All Ireland in 2014, I believe it was, wasn't it? At 18, 19 years of age. And then to go on and do what she's done since then is absolutely remarkable. And look, it's unfortunate maybe from a perspective that she didn't maybe get to end it the way she would have liked to have this year with another All Ireland and make it 7. But I'm sure she'll look back on this year still with fond memories, you know, winning a Munster title, winning the league, etc. So yeah, look, congratulations to her on a magnificent career. Yeah, look, I mean, to retire with 6 All Irelands and 4 All Stars, she'll probably go down as one of the best defenders to ever play the game, and definitely one of the best defenders to ever play in the red and white jersey. So yeah, the Killer one was absolutely fantastic, and yeah, congratulations to her, and I hope she thoroughly enjoys her retirement. She deserves it.
Exactly. So, and it will be a loss for Cork. Like, I don't know how many retirements there will be in the off season from the Cork point of view. Like I mentioned, Pamela Mackey there, Katrina Mackey, Aisling Thompson. Like a lot of them Cork players are getting on probably the older side of Camogie at this present moment of time, which is a concern. In all honesty, Peter's asking, is that an injury forced retirement? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think she was flying fit throughout the years, which is kind of a shock. I think it's more what Liam was kind of explaining, that she won as many All Irelands as she did, and she decided to hang up the boots then. That was the way, I think. But from your point of view, Aaron, an excellent player in Camogie over the last few years, Laura Tracy, and she will be missed for Cork, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I suppose Liam was kind of alluding to it here, like 6 All Irelands, 4 All Stars, like definitely one of the best to ever do it in a Cork jersey. In terms of Camogie, like definitely up there with the likes of Aisling Thompson, Gemma O'Connor, and Pamela Mackey and many others as well, like in terms of some of the all-time greats for Cork Camogie. But yeah, it probably is one of them things. Like it is mad. Like sometimes you can nearly be a victim of your own success a little bit, and we saw that with the Dublin footballers, as Liam was saying, like with Brian Fenton and, you know, like even Paul Mannion stepping away and different kind of players, and even with the Limerick hurlers to a certain extent in recent seasons as well. Like sometimes when you're so successful, there's nothing left to achieve, and with that, like some players are always kind of hungry to go on and achieve more, but some players will maybe look to retire. And I suppose at the end of the day, she owes nothing to nobody. You know, like she's given an absolutely all in a Cork jersey, and if anyone deserves to call it a day, it's definitely Laura Tracy. So yeah, it definitely will be a big blow. Like it is one of them where Cork have been so dominant in recent seasons. I know obviously they didn't win it last year in 2025, but you know, 23, 24 probably be one of the favourites again later in the line for this season. So definitely is a big blow. And yeah, I don't know, like if the timing's a little bit like interesting, like retiring in January, like just, you know, I know the league starts a little bit later in Camogie obviously, but I don't know about your thoughts in regards to that, like kind of retiring a little bit kind of later in the, you know, in the kind of off season.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one, to be honest with you. Like it's a weird one in many ways, because Cork were probably one of the favourites for the All Ireland again, despite Galway winning it last season. They are an excellent drill side by Ger Manley, and he seemed to get along well with the players in many ways. So it's kind of a shock that Laura did call up the way she did. I heard there is plenty of retirements in the Cork Camogie team behind the scenes. I'm actually not sure how many. In all honesty, I know Hannah Looney and Aoife Healy. I don't know, are they going to play at all because of AFLW? But yeah, it's an interesting time to announce a retirement like that. But hopefully Laura will achieve great things with her club Killa over the next few years. And she was an absolute brilliant Camogie player. And best of luck to Laura in her future endeavours. Before we get into the club action, there's a question for you, Liam, about Offaly, obviously. Liam, any update on James Mahon's injury? Look bad.
Yeah, no, Johnny Kelly was speaking after the game, and they still don't know the extent of it. To me, it looked like potential knee problem, maybe lead ligaments or something like that. I think, like obviously I was at the game, and from the angle that I was looking at it from, it's kind of hard to judge because he was going in to tackle, I believe it was Aaron Nyland, and he'd give away the foul. But it was like whatever way he landed, it looked sort of awkward. But obviously, I wasn't watching it on Clubber, so I didn't get like the opportunity to like play it back or anything like that yet. But no, I'd say it was just an awkward landing. But look, Johnny Kelly has said himself that they don't know the extent of it yet. I did see him just as we were driving past Duggan Park on the way home. The Offaly panel were all heading home, and I could see him walking, so that's a positive. Like he didn't look like he had a brace on him or anything like that, and he was smiling with the boys or whatever. So I'm hoping it's not too bad. And it's probably the one benefit of not winning today and not having to. Well, look, he could have maybe if we did win today, he might not play next weekend. You never know, to be fair. But yeah, no, look, it's probably no harm in it to a degree not having a game next weekend. I don't know whether that's the end of his league campaign or not. Hopefully it isn't for everyone's sake, and especially his, just because he's a fantastic player and a great lad off the pitch as well. But yeah, look, we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose, over the next couple of days how serious it is. But from what I've heard at the moment, yeah, I couldn't quite tell you, to be honest. We'll just have to wait and see over the next couple of days how it develops.
And hopefully James will recover from injury in time for the league anyway, from an Offaly point of view, in terms of that as well. But we will get into the action, and there was 4 club games this weekend in the intermediate and junior finals. They took centre stage in Croke Park, and there was also the pre-season competitions, which we will get into as well. So I suppose we will start on the intermediate football championship final, which did happen today. Ghaeltacht from Kerry came up against Glenullen from Derry, and it was Ghaeltacht that won today, 12 points to 6. They were 9 points to 1 up around the halfway mark of this game. They were dominant really in the first half. Glenullen just didn't get going in this game, and Peter did send in a comment about a bit of a controversy involving Glenullen, and we will get into it in due course. But I suppose, Aaron, for Ghaeltacht, what a win for them. 12 points to 6, as I mentioned. It was comfortable enough, what it seemed, in the end. Rory O'Beogley got 6 points. Carl O'Beogley got 2 points. Aino Crahur also got a point in the score sheet in Croke Park after his memorable score against Salins in the semi-final last weekend. So a good win for Ghaeltacht, and I'm sure we'll get on to Ballymacgalligan as well. It was just an overall good day for Kerry football.
Yeah, absolutely it was. It was a huge win for Ghaeltacht. A game they dominated, really. Like, I never really looked in doubt, in all honesty, as you said, like 9 points to 1 kind of early on, and Glenullen only scored 1 point until about the 50th minute. Like, they kind of struggled to break through on Ghaeltacht, and it was very comfortable. Probably wasn't as good as the Ballymacgalligan game. I thought that game was far more entertaining. They were kind of going back and forth until maybe the second half when Ballymacgalligan kind of pulled away. But generally speaking, like, I thought this game was very comfortable from Ghaeltacht. And look, fair play to them. Obviously, we all kind of remember the heartbreak against Caltra, 20 years ago. And in that final and everything else that went with it, they come back to Croke Park, obviously, new team. And they were very comfortable, to be fair. Like, Rory O'Begley was outstanding, 6 points from him. He had an outstanding game, really sort of controlled the tempo. And yeah, turnovers as well were absolutely huge. Like, the amount of turnovers that they were getting in the game, frustrating the living daylights really out of Glenullen as well. So yeah, fair play to Ghaeltacht, and who can deny it's been an incredible sort of 12 months or so for Kerry football. They could still win the Senior All-Ireland as well with Dingle. So yeah, fair play to them.
It was a brilliant win for Ghaeltacht in many ways, and he had some big performers throughout the day. For a team that had an injury crisis to an extent going into the game, like me and James discussed it during the week, like there was question marks whether Carl O'Beogley will take any part of the game, same as Brian O'Beogley. But in fairness, they were absolutely sensational, and they were brilliant over the last few weeks, in fairness to Ghaeltacht. But at an expense, I suppose, looking at this Glenullen story, as Peter says here, hey lads, did you see the controversy with the 4 of the Glenullen lads that were due to play the McCrory Cup with Mahara match? Was meant to be on yesterday, that was Saturday, and was moved to today. G's talking about another mess. Fixture chaos needs to be seriously looked at. And I suppose, just as context for our listeners, McCrory Cup is kind of like, I would describe it as the school's A competition in Ulster. It's kind of like the Kearney Vree down in Munster, or the Bosco Cup in Leinster. So it's a big competition, I would say, for schools. My question mark on this, I wouldn't know much about the McCrory Cup, to be honest with you, but my question mark is, why are they playing them at weekends? Could they not play them on weekdays, like every other school's competition? So it's a bit of it's a bizarre kind of situation, Liam, this, that the 4 lads for Glenunnon weren't allowed to play today in an All-Ireland final for their club. A chance that they may not get again either. Like, I know they lost today and they were outplayed in many ways by Ghaeltacht, and would the 4 lads have made a difference? Maybe, maybe not. But just for the chance of the opportunity to play in Croke Park taken away from them like that, that's very, very harsh.
It's extremely harsh. It actually makes no sense. I mean, I was never really a big fan of schools games being on the weekends, unless maybe it was an All-Ireland final. You could maybe understand it being on a Saturday to a degree, but first of all, on a Sunday makes absolutely, it's a bonkers decision to be playing a schools match on a Sunday. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But to be forcing those lads to essentially make a decision to say, right, are we playing in Croke Park for our club in an All-Ireland final, or are we playing a schools match? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest with you. And I do feel sorry for them, to be fair. Look, whether they'd have made a difference or not is beyond the point. The point is, like, you can't be fixing these games at the same time and on the same day. Well, I don't know if it's at the same time, but the same day. It makes absolutely no sense, and it shows a complete lack of regard and a complete lack of respect to those guys, you know. And you know, they have an All-Ireland final to play for their club. There's no bigger day, realistically, other than maybe playing for your county in an All-Ireland final. There's no bigger day than playing for your club in an All-Ireland final, especially being in Croke Park. So, yeah, no, look, absolutely bonkers decision. Like, I mean, if the Bosco Cup was on the same day today, and you know, a club from Offaly were playing today, and they were forced, I'd be absolutely outraged. So I can absolutely understand where people are coming from. Schools matches for me should be on a weekday. They should be taking place during the week, not at the weekends. I can make an exception maybe on a Saturday if it's an All-Ireland final or whatever, but on it's absolutely baffling to hear that. That's a dreadful situation, to be honest.
And Ryan Gallagher comes in with a comment saying Glenunnon never pressed up, always running into traffic. And I suppose, Aaron, to an extent, they were outplayed, as I mentioned there, against Ghaeltacht. They were 9 points to 1 down early doors. But playing devil's advocate, could that story there with the Mahara lads, could that have had an influence early on in the game for Glenunnon?
It definitely could have, yeah. Like, you don't want to take anything away from Ghaeltacht. Like, they were definitely deserved winners, and look, they might have won the game regardless of whether this kind of took place or not. But yeah, like, absolutely, it could have. Like, maybe in the build-up as well, you know, it was surprising maybe that there wasn't kind of more mention of this kind of in the build-up to the games and everything else. You know, like, but yeah, like, it's a joke really, like, for the players, like, to have that kind of getting in the way. As Liam could have said there, like, a schools match on a Sunday is bizarre really, when you think about it, especially when the fact that usually a lot of people from the school would come and support the team, you know, hence why you would do it on a school day, because it makes more sense because everyone's in school. Do you know what I mean? Like, on a Sunday, it's obviously free time, so not everyone's going to attend or going to see the game. So little bit bizarre that. To be honest with you, you do feel sorry for them. But look, you can't really take anything away from Ghaeltacht because they were absolutely outstanding. But look, maybe preparation-wise, it was clear as day that Glenunnon really never really got going at all. Like, they got going, you know, they kicked 5 points in the last 10 minutes, but at that stage the game was done. You know, the game was kind of over. So yeah, it definitely will be interesting to kind of see the you know, the kind of talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was a difficult day for Glenunnon, and it was a shame that this kind of story overshadowed what was supposed to be a hotly anticipated game. Like, in fairness, Ghaeltacht played the game, they did very well and won the game at the end. As Peter mentioned there, Liam, if Salins got through, in his opinion anyway, they would have won against Glenunnon today. I probably would have agreed with that, but at the same time, like, both of them would have been worthy winners in many ways. Ghaeltacht and Salins both have had brilliant journeys to the final. In fairness, you can't go past Glenunnon's win over Strokestown in the semi-final either. But when you look at Ghaeltacht and the way Kerry football is going at the moment, and just the story behind this Ghaeltacht team, the huddle on the pitch afterwards as well, remembering, as Aaron mentioned there, their defeat to Cúilín 20 years ago. Like, it was just a brilliant moment, and it's just a brilliant story for Ghaeltacht this season too, with the whole panel except for Aidan Walsh speaking Irish. communicating in Irish, which I think it's very cool, to be fair. I'm not a Gaeilgeoir myself, but I think it is great that they promote the national language as well, and obviously to win the intermediate championship, it's brilliant for the club.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. It also just shows how strong the football scene in Kerry is at the moment. You know, that you have 2 winners today in the intermediate and the junior, and you have the senior team in the final as well. You know, and obviously, I mean, like Aaron said there, Kerry are probably favourites to win the All-Ireland this year already before ball's even kicked. So it just shows you that Kerry football at the moment is in a really, really good place. And like mentioned there, yeah, this Ghaeltacht team is very, very special. You know, I loved seeing on TG Carr a couple of weeks ago, seeing the interviews all done in Irish with the managers, with the players, and everything like that. It's brilliant to see, you know, and it shows that the Irish language still is strong in certain parts of the country. Like I'm not a Gaeilgeoir myself, unfortunately. I wish I did speak Irish. I tried in school, I just wasn't good at it. But no, the football that they played, you know, especially I saw the Salins game. Look, people would say it was fortunate the way they won it in the end with that free or whatever, but they were still a very good football team. Like I mentioned, their Salins were a very good opponent, and to get over the line against them was a very good achievement, regardless. And then to win the game today in the fashion that they did, how comfortable it was. I mean, like there wasn't a score. Correct me if I'm wrong. There wasn't a score for about the first 20 minutes of the second half, nearly, or somewhere around that. So it just shows you how strong they were. That for 50 minutes they had only conceded 1 point in an All-Ireland final, which is absolutely just remarkable. Like that's absolutely. I mean, it's unfortunate from the Glenullen's perspective, and you know, I don't like seeing a lot of comments I've seen online of like, oh, they didn't want to turn up today, they didn't want to know about it, whatever. Those lads will be hurting tonight 100%, you know, and they'll feel like they've let their club down or whatever, which they haven't. At the end of the day, it's an All-Ireland final they've gotten to, and like, you know, the people that say that will think it's easy to win an All-Ireland. It's the hardest thing to do in Gaelic games is to win an All-Ireland, regardless of who you are. So no, look, on Ghaeltacht were just a better team today. They were just class all over, and when they had to score, they did. When they had to defend, they did. And yeah, like you mentioned there, I mean, some of the performances today from the likes of Brino Ghaeltacht, you know, absolutely outstanding. He's one of my favorite footballers, to be honest with you. I love watching him play. I think he's extremely entertaining, and you know, he's not afraid whatsoever to have a go in games and move his way up the pitch and everything like that. Rory O'Bugleocht, I think he had about 5 of their 9 points in the first half, or maybe it was 4 or something like that. He had the first 2 from play and a couple from frees as well. Just shows you how strong he is as well. But yeah, no, from Ghaeltacht, it's an unbelievable victory. And like I mentioned there, it just shows you how strong football is at the moment in Kerry, and we could potentially be in for another era of Kerry dominance potentially. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, no, congratulations to Ghaeltacht, massive victory. And look, commiseration to Glenullen. You know, they've still had a fantastic year. You know, it doesn't matter that, you know, things didn't go their way today. They still had a fantastic year, and they should be very proud of their efforts still.
Yeah, exactly. So, and well done to Ghaeltacht for winning the All-Ireland Intermediate Champions for 25-26. So well done to Ghaeltacht. A new viewer, Dara Wilson from Armagh, saying he loves the show. So brilliant. Thank you to Dara for that. There was another comment in here from Peter saying, oh yeah, I agree, Liam, as the club tagline goes, the toughest. Absolutely. But we will move on to the junior final now, and that was Ballymcgilligan, another Kerry club that won an All-Ireland title. They beat Clough-Rear Oak from Tyrone 116 to 13 points, and a late goal from Donald Daly put the icing on the cake for Ballymcgilligan on an emotional season for the club after obviously the tragic passing of Luke Sills early in 2025, and for that club to go all the way and win the All-Ireland, it's an emotional win, and it was a brilliant win for Ballymcgilligan overall as well. Dara Broderick scored 4 points, Aidan Breen got 3 points, Jack Joy 2 points, Dara Keane also got in the score sheet as well. So an excellent display from a Ballymcgilligan point of view. And I suppose, Aaron, as well, this journey has been full of maybe emotional stories, and today even applauding Ghaeltacht onto the pitch before their intermediate final, I think just showed the togetherness maybe of Kerry GA and how their clubs support each other in many ways. And it was just a brilliant moment, in fairness, along with other brilliant moments from this Ballymcgilligan run, and they're deserving All-Ireland Junior champions this season.
Sometimes we criticise 2 different championships, obviously at senior level, and maybe not as many teams in at senior level as maybe other counties and everything else, and we've probably criticised it a little bit, but there's no doubt in that Kerry supporters themselves and Kerry people themselves are very proud of what they've built they believe they're doing it the right way. And who can argue at the end of the day when you're having, clubs that are winning intermediate All-Irelands, junior All-Irelands, like especially in the last 5 or 6 years, like there's been so many of them that have gotten to finals and gotten to the final stages and everything else. I remember Fossa a good couple of years ago as well. So who can really kind of deny them in regards to that? But yeah, it was a brilliant performance really by Ballymackelliga. Like they probably in the first half, like they started quite well. Like there were 5 points to 1 up early on. And then a couple of 2-pointers from, at the other end kind of put them on the back foot. But like fair play, they kept kind of going at half time. It was very, very even. But in the second half, they kind of took the storm. Like as you said, like Dara Broderick was outstanding, 4 points from him, scored an outstanding 2-pointer in the game. Dara Keane was very good as well. And they were getting a range of scores really from the likes of Aidan Breen, Adam Sheehy, Martin McKivergan, all getting on the score sheet as well. Jack Joy. So some extraordinary scores there, and overall a remarkable day for Ballymackelliga.
Yeah, brilliant win, Liam, overall for Ballymackelliga, and just an emotional journey and all that as well. Excuse me, but you look at this All-Ireland final, and Ryan Ghaeltacht said in the comments there that Clocker could have had a few goals in this game. They had 3 goal chances and could have easily won it. And as well as they didn't score a goal in this game, which you kind of need that luck to win an All-Ireland at this stage as well. But it can't go unnoticed as well. To be fair, Glenollan just didn't turn up in the intermediate final, but Clocker had their chances to go on and win this game. But to be fair, Kieran Bowe got 5 points, Mark McConnell got 2 points as well, Conor Shields got 2 points. They had some excellent performers throughout the day, but it was just Ballymackelliga's day, you kind of felt, with 3 goal chances going astray, with the goal at the very end as well, with the emotion throughout the whole season, with the way Kerry football's going at the moment. It was just Ballymac's day.
Yeah, it was Ballymac's day. There's no question about that. And like you mentioned there, you need luck going. Like, yeah, Peter says there in the comments, you need the grain of rice to fall your way. You're missing 3 goal chances in an All-Ireland final. Like in any game, I suppose, anyways, but particularly in an All-Ireland final, you need your quality on the day, you need your work rate, but you need luck as well to be on your side. And yeah, Ballymackelliga simply had it today. Aaron's very sad over that, so he's been kicked out. Hopefully we'll have him back. He's just having some technical issues. But I think we might have him back. We will wait and see we might have him back in a second. Stay tuned, folks. But look, in fairness to Clonard, they certainly turned up in this final. There's no question about that. Like, they were right in it at half time, leading by 10 points to 8. And look, I just think Ballymackelliga showed their quality in the end, and they showed their fitness as well. And, the goal from Donald Daly was the icing on the cake really for them, pushing them 7 points in front. And then, it's really hard to kind of muster your way back with 5 minutes to go when you're 7 points down. You've conceded a goal late on. It's very hard to keep yourself motivated to keep going. So, look, it's unfortunate for them, but they will take a lot of confidence from this again. They still got to an All-Ireland final, and they're still should be very, very proud of their efforts this year, winning a county title, winning a provincial title, and now getting to this stage. So yeah, look, it's fantastic for Ballymackelliga, and again, it's fantastic for Kerry as well. I mean, give us a chance, lads, for God's sake. The rest of us are starving here. But no, I think what's actually even more remarkable about this from this team is that everyone from 7 up until 15 scored. That's absolutely remarkable. Everyone in the forward line scored. The 2 midfielders contributed 7 points. Broderick and Breen, and Michael Reid scored a point from wingback as well. I mean, that's just absolutely remarkable, to be honest with you. So, look, you need scores all across the pitch. You need to be spreading them out. And as we said there, it doesn't matter who gets the scores once you get them. So, no, look, congratulations to Ballymackelliga, and look, commiserations to Éireog, but no doubt that they'll be back again soon. There's no question about that.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a brilliant win for Ballymackelliga and a brilliant season overall, as Aaron comes back into the stream there as well. So yeah, a brilliant win for Ballymackelliga, a brilliant win in the All-Ireland Junior Championships today, and they definitely did their club proud, their county proud, and obviously most importantly Luke Sills looking up above proud as well. And it was just a brilliant win for Ballymackelliga overall this season, and congratulations to all involved on winning the All-Ireland Junior Championship. We will move on to the hurling now. We will move on to the intermediate final first. This final was between Upper Church Drumban from Tipperary and Turin of Mayo. This went extra time. It went all the way, and it was a very, very entertaining game. as Ryan says here about Clocker there, relied a bit too much on Kieran Bogue, absolutely. But look at this intermediate final, went to extra time, but Upper Church Drumban won the All-Ireland in the end. They beat Turin on a scoreline of 420 to 224. A late free in normal time for Gavin Ryan from beyond the halfway line, an absolutely incredible score, which he has been doing, to be fair, throughout the whole season. Brought this to extra time, and then a plethora of goals went into the back of the net, and Upper Church. It looked like they were well on their course to a comfortable win, but then Turin, what a performance to get back into the game in many ways. In the very end, Luke Shanahan from Upper Church got 7 points this one. Conor Fahy got 2 goals in extra time. Gavin Ryan got 5 points. Paul Shanahan got 1-1. You look at Pat Ryan with 3 points. Paddy Feeder with a goal as well. But it was just a brilliant game overall, Aaron, and you have to credit Turin as well for the way they battled back into the game. The performances of Fergal Boland in particular with 6 points, Brian Morley with 4 points, Kenny Feeney with 3, Sean Kenny with 3 points. They put, to be fair, they have put Mayo hurling on the map for a number of years now, but it was a brilliant display by them. But yet again, they fall just short, like they did against Monaghan a few years ago, and it was just Upper Church that had the upper hand in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was an incredible game of hurling, really, between the two teams. Back and forth, neck and neck. Like you didn't know which way it was going to go going down the home stretch. Like Upper Church were probably better in the first half in the early exchanges. Like they led by 5 or 6, and then Turin kind of stepped it on and could have stepped it up after that with the likes of Fergal Boland and Owen Delaney and a few others kind of scoring some brilliant points. And like especially going down the home stretch as well, you were kind of thinking like Turin probably have it here, like they have it within their grasp. They're a point up, obviously, going into normal time, as you said. Like it was an extraordinary point really by Gavin Ryan. And then in extra time, the game kind of took its own kind of way of life, obviously with the 2 goals from Conor Fahy. Kind of establishing themselves having a big lead, but even with that, like a 10-point lead for Upper Church, and Turin were able to play to them. They never backed down, like especially in extra time when legs were tired and everything else. You're kind of thinking, Upper Church could really win this quite comfortably now. But to be fair to Turin, like they didn't back down, and but you have to give credit to Upper Church. As you said, some phenomenal performance from Conor Fahy to Aaron Ryan, Paul Shanahan, Mikey Griffin, Luke Shanahan as well, scoring 7 points. So he was very impressive. But yeah, it is an interesting one with Turin. Like they are putting Mayo on the map. Like I don't know what you lads think about this defeat now. Like, can you put them up to senior level, or is it a case that they probably have to win today?
It's a tough one.
Yesterday,
I think the way they challenged Upper Church, you have to give that a lot of credit and fairness. But what do you think, Liam? Should they be put up to the Connacht Senior Championship? Like, I suppose it'll be good for just the competition in the Connacht Senior, but are they ready to face the St. Thomas's? Are they ready to face the Loughrea after losing? I know they really put it up to Upper Church, but in the end, as harsh as it is, they did lose the game in the end. So would you put them up to Connacht Senior?
Probably going to sound harsh. I probably wouldn't yet, to be honest with you. Like you mentioned there, it would be absolutely fantastic in the same way that I'd love to see the likes of a Mayo and a Roscommon and a Sligo go up against Galway in a Connacht Championship, and I know obviously Mayo are playing in Division 2A this year, and hopefully, getting games against the likes of Westmeads and Laois of this world, and the Kerrys, etc., will give them much greater exposure and give these players an opportunity to show what they're truly about. But I would just worry. I know obviously you've, Donegal now, who have their senior clubs competing in the Ulster Championship, in Setanta, obviously played this year. But I don't know. I would just be a small bit concerned with if they would be able, like, for me, do they have the capability to beat St. Thomas? Do they have the capability of beating a Capitagal, to beat a Loughrea? I'm not too sure at the moment. Obviously, like that was mentioned there, I think Turin make up 12 of the Mayo starting 15, correct me if I'm wrong. And they're by far the best team in Mayo. They're by far the best team in Mayo by a country mile. And they've been fantastic side over the last number of years. There's no question about it. And I mean, even mentioned Fergal Boland. I mean, for the love of God, I think he's a better hurler than he is a footballer, to be honest with you. I think if he was in any other county, he'd make a strong case for starting for another county. But I don't know. I probably feel like it's maybe a bit too soon, possibly. Like I mentioned, I would absolutely love to see a Connacht Club Championship. I'd absolutely love to see a Connacht Senior Hurling Championship down the line. And I feel like we are getting better at making these clubs progressing. We saw Easky yesterday. You know, there's a lot of nice hurlers in Sligo. There's a lot of nice hurlers in Mayo. There's no question about it. It's just you want them to be able to say we can go out here and beat these teams. And for me at the moment, I just don't see it happening, if I'm being honest. Maybe I'm sounding harsh, but I just don't see it happening at the moment. So I probably would feel like it's right now possibly a step too far, but I think we are making great progress in that perspective. And hopefully over the next number of years, we will see potentially a Toreen versus St. Thomas's or Loughrea Connacht final, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I think honestly, I think as tough as it sounds, I think a Mayo club needs to win an All-Ireland Intermediate crown. I think that's when you can put them in to the senior grade. I think with Donegal, and it was brilliant to see this the likes of Setanta in the Ulster Championship, but realistically, Ulster's very, very it's much easier than the Galway champions. Like you look at Schlottney, decent side, obviously St. John's who came out of Antrim this year, or Dunloy, or wherever that may be. Very tough sides in there, but they aren't as tough as Galway. You look at Galway, you have former All-Ireland champions there in St. Thomas's, potentially one in Loughrea. We'll see next weekend against Ballygunner. Capatagal, as you mentioned there, Liam, a very good club there as well. Like Portumna can't even get into the top grade of Galway hurling, and they're still a fantastic club there as well. So yeah, it's a difficult one. It really is. But yeah, it's probably a discussion that will be talked about next season in the club championship as well. But from an Upper Church point of view, it was just brilliant for them to win the All-Ireland. Obviously, with Tipperary win the All-Ireland as well in their senior grade. I know this Upper Church team doesn't have, I suppose, as many tip seniors as many other teams. I think Luke Shanahan's the only exception. I think he's an underage player, if memory serves me correctly. But they do have a good team bond. They have a good kind of unity together. Like Aaron did mention at the start of the show, we did our league predictions video, which will be coming out very, very soon on the channel, where we all got together and recorded in person. And I was coming home on the train, and I was on a train coincidentally with Upper Church fans. And the way they were talking with each other, the fans there, the people, they weren't going mad, I would say, on an All-Ireland win, but they were just chatting about the game. They were chatting about how this could lift the club and everything like that. But that's kind of the essence of clubbing in the game. It's just absolutely brilliant that you get these guys talking to each other as well. And this sort of team in Upper Church, the way they've gone through the into the final as well, they have, I suppose, brought some joy with their community as well, despite having a team with relatively less inter-county stars than many other tip clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. And even defeating a team like Danesfort in the semi-final as well, in the fashion that they did, to even get to this stage was remarkable as well. Obviously winning the Munster Championship as well, like, which is absolutely not an easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. But yet, if you look at the scoreline against O'Callaghan Mills, it was fairly simple, fairly comprehensive, winning by 14 points in the end. So, no, they've been on a great journey. And like you mentioned, there are probably not a lot of names that would stand out to a lot of people outside of Tipperary, possibly. But they have a great heart and a great spirit. And the way they fought back yesterday to claw the game back and then take full control in extra time. Obviously, okay, they had a little bit of a scare towards the end, but they still won the game in the end, so they're a fantastic club, and it's a fantastic achievement for them to win it in the fashion that they did. And like you mentioned there, some of the performers that they had yesterday, and the likes of Luke Shanahan scoring 7 points, Pat Ryan scoring 3 points, Conor Fahy. I think Toby Colbert was the only starting forward to not score. I think I could be wrong in saying that, but I think he was the only one that didn't score yesterday. But then you look at Gavin Ryan scoring 5 points from centre back, like absolutely monstrous, and I think was you and I were saying yesterday, he got 3 from frees and 2 from play from a centre back, especially on a pitch like Croke Park in an All-Ireland final. That's absolutely fantastic. So look, it's an unbelievable achievement for them. And look, I do feel sad for Toreen. It would have been magnificent to see a Mayo club winning an All-Ireland Intermediate Hurling title. It would be so good for the game of hurling. But I suppose even a Mayo team getting to a final is fantastic for hurling, and it shows the progress that is hopefully being made in that county at the moment. And hopefully they can have a positive enough Division 2A campaign. Maybe that depends on staying up in the division or putting in good performances. I know they're playing Laois on the opening day in 2 weeks' time, and look, I don't expect them to win that game, but if they can put up a performance against them at home, maybe get a good crowd in for it potentially, which is obviously going to be difficult considering the footballers are playing Galway. I don't know if it's on the same day or it's on the day before or whatever, but if they can get behind Toreen over the next year or two, if they can get behind the Mayo hurlers, the supporters of Mayo, then we could see a rising of hurling in Mayo, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, for Upper Church, it's Drumbain. It's a fantastic achievement, and like you mentioned there, nothing better than winning an All Ireland with your club, especially in January when everyone's miserable and it's wet and it's there's nobody has any money either, but they'll have plenty of money tonight for drinking. But no, it's a fantastic achievement for them, and congratulations to them. And like I mentioned there, I hope you enjoyed their company on the train last night anyway.
Yeah, exactly. They were. I would say they're a nice bunch of people there. In Upper Church, for what I've seen anyway. From those residents on the train there. But yeah, it's just brilliant overall for that community, Aaron, for winning the All Ireland, and as me and Liam were mentioned there, probably a club that is less reliant on inter-county quality than many other clubs at Tipperary, and for them to bring joy to their people, it's absolutely brilliant in fairness. And as Liam rightly said there as well, in the depths of January when everything's miserable, everything's wet, everything's cold, and for them to win an All-Ireland for their community, it's just brilliant.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, like I think for any club winning an All Ireland is huge, but in particular for Upper Church and for any club probably that isn't starved with county players, because at the end of the day you don't know how often that success is going to come. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe when you are kind of loitered with county stars and big name players and everything else, you feel like you can win it on most years or anything of that nature. And especially for Upper Church as well, like as far as I know, like you wouldn't be, I suppose, the biggest club, with the biggest amount of resources and everything else. So the fact that they've been able to go and do what they've done is it's an incredible achievement, and yeah, fantastic for all the players. And as Liam said there, hopefully they enjoyed their night on the beer, and without question I'm sure there was a few sore heads today and probably for the next couple of days as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say it was bouncing the area of Upper Church drum band, no doubt about it, as well. And congratulations to everybody involved in Upper Church on winning the All Ireland Intermediate crown as well. Before we get into our last game, Peter, just ask you a question here, lads. Did you see the tip Doc blue to gold? I'll be honest with you, Liam. He says good watch. To be honest with you, Liam, Peter, I haven't. To be honest with you, as simple as because you have to pay to watch it. And I'm not paying a certain fee to see Tipperary hammer Cork in the All Ireland final again. So I'm not doing it. So I don't know if you lads watched it. So I'll throw the floor to you, but I haven't paid.
I can't say I've seen it. I might watch it. I'll wait and see. But again, I'm also an Offaly man, and I don't particularly want to watch a Tipperary with All Ireland documentary. But it did look, the previews that I did see and everything like that, it did look good. And in fairness, I'm a big fan of Liam Cahill, to be fair, and I've interviewed one or two of the the Tipperary hurlers as well. I've interviewed Ronan Maher before. I've chatted to Darren McCarthy once or twice before as well, and like they're very nice chaps, to be fair to them, especially Ronan Maher. I think he's very decorated, both player and person off the field as well. But look, maybe I'll watch in the future. I'll wait and see. But I'm kind of like Matthew, only to maybe less than an extent over them beating Cork in the final. I won't be in a rush to watch it, I can tell you that.
Yeah, like I'd probably definitely give it a go, maybe, but I suppose paying for it, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of a bit stingy maybe in regards to that, but I do have a few Tipperary connections, so to be fair, so I wouldn't mind giving it a go maybe at some stage, but maybe I'll hold out for the documentary that's going to come out next year about the Dublin hurlers,
Exactly. So, but we will move on to the last game of the weekend in terms of the All Ireland Club finals across other than senior, and that is obviously Kilbrittain are All Ireland Junior hurling champions. And obviously, just as a context for listeners, I live in a place that's 10 kilometers away from Kilbrittain's pitch. So the club is pretty close to where I live. So it's absolutely brilliant for them to win the All Ireland. They beat Eastkey in the final, 19 points to 18 in this game. Mark Hickey one of his 9 points of the day, he got the winning score from a free to send the Kilbrittain fans into raptures. And I suppose it's just a bit of an emotional journey. We talked about Ballymcgilligan earlier in the podcast, Liam, but this Kilbrittain journey, I would say, in terms of the season. Oisín Ghaeltacht obviously passing away back in March from sudden death syndrome. That was a tragic event to happen in the club, as well as obviously the passing of Anne Enright as well within the club. This club has been through a lot of tragedy. But for this season, they retired the number 8 jersey for Oisín Ghaeltacht's memory, and they had all their training tops with OG on their shirts in terms of their initials as well. This has been an unbelievable journey for Kilbrittain as well. They've put West Cork hurling on the map as well. It's been an absolutely incredible journey. And I suppose, and Peter did say in the comments as well, or that's Kildare one, there was the photo of the weekend one, photo of the weekend, and probably photo of the year. Jamie Wall and Philip Wall after the final whistle. What it's all about, really, obviously, with Philip Wall being on the TG Carr punditry team. His brother Philip is the Kilbrittain captain, and Jamie went onto the pitch and hugged his brother. It was just an emotional pick, an emotional year overall for Kilbrittain, and deserving All-Ireland champions name.
Yeah, and even going back to that, having met Jamie Wall once or twice, absolute gent, is hurling man inside out. And look, even though I don't speak Irish, my father does, and sure, I'd get him to sometimes translate what he does be saying, when he's doing the punditry for TG Carr every Saturday or Sunday for games. And I have to say, one of the best pundits in the country. I think RTE should genuinely look at trying to get him in for the Sunday game potentially this season or something like that, or get him to do coverage for some of their games. I think he's absolutely magnificent. His knowledge is absolutely superb. And yeah, to see the photo first and then to see the video on the highlights package afterwards of seeing the two of them embracing each other is just absolutely magnificent, and it shows you everything about what not just the GA but what sport in general can do for people. It's absolutely magnificent. And Philip scored 2 points yesterday as well, which contributed. Ironically, if you were looking from this perspective, you could say, well, my 2 points, one is the final. But yeah, it's a fantastic achievement for them. For Mark Hickey to put over that point at the end from the free to get them over the line is unbelievable. And it's it's a magnificent achievement for them. For Eastleigh, look, again, I suppose similar enough to Toreen in Mayo, for Eastleigh to have put Sligo hurling on the map here, for them to get to the final is absolutely magnificent as well. It's unfortunate the way it ended for them, and it's unfortunate with the 2 red cards as well for Connolly and for Kilcullen, especially for Kilcullen, who had scored 6 points in this game. You got to give a shout out as well to Thomas Cawley, who scored 5 points as well, and Finian Cawley as well, scoring 2 points. Are they brothers or are they cousins? I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. I think they might be brothers, but regardless, it was a fantastic performance from them, and it's been a great year for them, regardless, still to be playing in Croke Park and showing what their club is all about. I suppose the red card that was shown, it's a hard one. I'd kind of point it in the similar sort of direction as the Chris Crummy one on Grode Hegarty earlier this year, possibly the Richie Hogan one on Cottlebard a couple of years ago. It's a tough one, to be honest with you. I think there is contact there. I do wonder if the Kilbrittain player made a bit of a meal of it. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I'm still kind of debating that one, because those ones I feel are still always the hardest ones to judge, because you're thinking to yourself, yes, there's contact there and he's probably led with the elbow or whatever, but at the same time, is it enough contact to, make a man be down for 3-4 minutes? But I don't know what your lads' opinions on it are, but regardless, it's still a fantastic win for Kilbrittain. I think they're mostly football side, aren't they? Or they're more of a football club, are they? More than me, Matthew. But it's a fantastic achievement for them to bring an All-Ireland home.
Absolutely brilliant. And they're probably more, I would say, arguably, they're a more successful hurling club than they are football, but they're from a more successful football area in West Cork. Like in hurling in West Cork, there is only Kilbrittain are the 3rd highest ranked team across the whole county in terms of West Cork teams. Only Bandon and Newcestown are ranked higher, which is, look, it's probably a problem in West Cork that probably needs to be talked about a lot more, but they have put West Cork hurling on the map. They've done absolutely brilliantly as well over the past few seasons. And obviously, we'll talk about the red card in just a bit as well. Like that was a controversial moment, which we'll have to touch on as well. And the way Eastleigh played, it was absolutely brilliant in fairness. But just at an emotional standpoint, Aaron, for Kilbrittain to go with the stuff they have been through over the past year, obviously with Oisín Gillán's passing as well, with the retiring the number 8 jersey, with the obviously Philip and Jamie embracing themselves and embrace each other on the pitch as well, come full time. I think Sarah O'Donovan sitting off the ball this morning that it's something like the stars are aligning, and it was almost like the passing of Oisín Gillán. It was almost like it was devastating to happen to the community, but it was almost like a driving thing to happen for this Kilbrittain team, and they got them closer together, and eventually they got the Holy Grail in the end. I think Aaron is frozen again. So yeah, I'll ask the same question to you, Liam. Like it was kind of an emotional valve for Kilbrittain this season.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was. And I suppose it's something that will always unite a community, it will always unite a club, it will always unite the players, when tragedy does strike a club. And like it's probably a horrible thing to say, but it sometimes when tragedy does strike a club or tragedy does strike a community, it can almost spur a team on to go and win and to go and prove themselves and everything like that, and to really, really show their bottle, I suppose, and show their love and their passion, everything like that. But that's what I love in a way about sport, that even though you never want these things to happen and they're cruel and everything, it does show what they meant to the people that they were with, the friends that they had and everything like that. And there's no doubt they'll be thinking of those people tonight, and for the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks. And I've no doubt they probably went to graveyards or done something in their honor anyway, which obviously they'll be doing behind closed doors and all that. But yeah, look, like you said there, from that side of things, it's a very emotional victory. And yeah, just seeing all the hugging on the pitch afterwards and seeing the togetherness in everybody, it just shows you again what the club means to everybody and, the area and everything like that. So, yeah, no, look, it's from that perspective, it's I would describe it as beautiful, to be honest with you. I would describe it as magical. And yeah, hopefully now we kind of, I wouldn't say like ease the pain, but hopefully it just brings some bit of light into the bit of darkness that they would have had over the last while. But yeah, no, congratulations to them again. It's absolutely magnificent.
It was just emotional in its own right as well. Another kind of angle to this. Ronan Crowley got 4 points for playing absolutely brilliant performance by him. He was named the TG Carr man of the match, and he was Oisín's best mate. He was his best friend, which makes it even more emotional in so many ways as well. And obviously, they will be remembering Oisín forevermore, obviously, in the club of Kilbrittain. I suppose we have to go on to the red card, and I suppose the second yellow probably was a red card for Connolly. Let's be honest. It is harsh, but he dragged him down. It is a second yellow. With the Kilcullen red card, I agree with you completely. It's a very, very 50-50 call. I think it's very harsh on Kilcullen to be sent off like that in an All-Ireland final. For the year he had 15-77 in leading up to the All-Ireland final, and he played very well up until that point as well. Yeah. I know as much as I wanted Kilbrittain to win the game, obviously, for West Cork and things like that, but I don't think it was a red card. I thought it was harsh. I really thought it was harsh, and it probably swung the game in the favour of Kilbrittain. But I suppose from a Leaskey point of view, it's very, very hard to push. After losing by a point to a Cork club, after losing to another Cork club with Ballygiblin 3 years ago, it's very, very hard to take for them as well. And they've been the standard bearers in Sligo over the last few years. They've won plenty Connachts, they've won plenty Sligos. This was probably another opportunity, another stab at the dart to win their first All-Ireland in their history. And they failed just short. Like it's very, very hard for those Eastleigh players, I'd imagine, Liam, to go again.
Yeah, and like even seeing the post that they put out on Facebook earlier today as well, like they're extremely, extremely proud. And it's kind of the weird thing with All-Ireland finals. You often wonder, not that you ever want to lose, but like, is it worse to lose by a point with a last-minute score, or is it worse to get battered in a final? I suppose, look, can I say, I've seen both perspectives. Like I've seen both perspectives from other teams and everything like that. I've seen it from my own perspectives as well. I've seen us, like I'll even take the under 20s a couple of years ago. I saw us lose to Tipperary in the last minute in an All-Ireland minor final, and then the next year I saw Cork beat us, fairly. I would probably say, see, it's a weird one again because you were still happy with them on both occasions. It's just one, it's just complete shock, and it's that emotion at that moment. You're like, oh my God, you'd rather have been hammered. But then there's the other perspective of, okay, well, do you know what? At least we didn't lose in the last minute. At least we could accept it, earlier on in the game or whatever. But yeah, like you mentioned there, I have no doubt that they'll be absolutely back again next year, trying to fight back, get themselves back to Croke Park. And they're probably sick of Cork at this stage, to be honest with you, or sick of Cork clubs. But this can't be this won't be a reason for them to back down or to stop or anything like that. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that they will be back again next year. And listen, they're a classy club as well. In their statement on Facebook, they congratulated Kilbrittain as well in a good game and everything like that. And that's class as well. Seeing a club saying it to another, well done on what is probably their toughest defeat ever or whatever. But no, look, it's tough for them, but they're doing Sligo hurling really, really proud at the moment, and they're putting them on the map. And there's no doubt in my mind they'll be back again next year, trying to fight back and get themselves back to Croke Park. And I have a feeling they will win it at some stage. Like they're 1 point, they're one score off being All-Ireland champions. That's absolutely nothing. That's again, luck being on your side on the most important day of the year. But look, for me, they've still done absolutely magnificent this year. And I know I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I've no doubt in my mind that they'll be back again next year, and they'll be putting up another big fight to go and bring an All-Ireland title back to the West.
Yeah, exactly. So, and hopefully Eastkey can push on from their brilliant exploits over the last few years and eventually get to the Holy Grail and win the All-Ireland. But yesterday was Kilbrittain's day, and congratulations to everybody involved in the Kilbrittain club as well. They'll be partying into the night, I'm sure. The parade, outside parade, was actually cancelled in Kilbrittain tonight because of the bad weather. So they actually held it inside. So hopefully everybody has a good night on Sunday from Kilbrittain in general as well. So that is the club wrapped up. Just before we go, we'll talk about the pre-season competitions. I'll run through the results from the weekend's games, and we'll discuss it in depth in just a sec. So we'll go on to the O'Byrne Cup. These games were taking place yesterday. So we'll start off with the O'Byrne Shield semi-finals. Wicklow beat Longford 3-16 to 1-11. So Longford, their kind of golden touch in the O'Byrne Cup has come to an end, unfortunately for them. And Wicklow will be facing Carlow in the O'Byrne Shield final. Carlow beat Laois 2-15 to 3-9. And then in the O'Byrne Cup semi-final, sorry to mention this, Liam Westmeath beat Offaly 5-10 to 2-8. And obviously, as we mentioned at the start of the show as well, sorry to Aaron, Kildare beat Dublin 122 to 113. Just a few words on the O'Byrne Cup and Shield there. The O'Byrne Cup final between Westmeath and Kildare. I suppose from an Offaly point of view, are you happy enough? Like, you've given lads a go, which is probably the essence of the pre-season competitions, and all roads lead to the first day out for you against Louth in the Division 2 game at the end of January.
Yeah, and look, like Aaron and yourself were mentioning there, we were doing the preview yesterday, so I actually haven't even got a chance to even watch this game back properly. But from what I was listening to Mark McHugh today, talking to Midlands 103, he was kind of saying himself that Offaly, like, we're after playing our third game in 6-7 days, and especially in January, that's not an easy thing to do when you're trying to rotate lads and get new lads in and get new players in, etc., trying lads out in different positions, whatever. But look, I'm not reading too much into it, to be honest with you. It's look, they had a good win against Meath the other night, but again, I'm not reading too much into that. We had a good win against Carlow last week. We're not reading too much into that. But look, there were still some positives from yesterday. At the same time, from what I've read, and it's nice seeing Kieran Murphy, who's transferred into us this year. Then would be scoring 2 goals yesterday. Darragh Flynn got 2 points. And they were trying out lads in different positions here and there as well. So look, for me, congratulations to Westmeath. They had a good performance yesterday. McCartan scoring 2 goals, Luke Loughlin scoring a couple of points, Brandon Kelly scoring 2 goals and a point. So look, it'll be a good game between them and Kildare on Friday evening. I've no doubt about that. It'll be an interesting pre-season final. And it could easily be without sounding mad, that could easily be the Leinster final this year. Kildare, Westmeath, like genuinely, or I'm trying to think the side of the draw I'm trying to think the side of the draw we're on now. I know Louth and Dublin are playing. Jesus, I'm really struggling here to think off the top of my head. But anyways, it could potentially be a Leinster final. I could be wrong saying that. It could be the Leinster semi-final. I don't know. But it gives a good indication of where these two teams are at. I think Mark McHugh, to be fair to him, is going to do a very good job with Westmeath. He's been in there for the last couple of years. He knows what these guys are like. And it's a great starting point for him as well. I'm sure the long-term goal for him would absolutely to be to maybe manage Donegal one day or whatever. But, you know, I think he'll do a good job with Westmeath. There's still a lot of good footballers in there as well. So, look, they got 3 good games in the last week, Carlow, Meath and Westmeath. And look, Louth in 2 weeks' time is the most important game, you know, out of all the games in January, bar obviously the game against Kildare, that's on the 31st. But look, it was nice of them to still get a couple of games in the week. But yeah, look, I won't be reading too much into it, to be honest. Congratulations to Westmeath, they were the better side. And yeah, they'll take on Kildare next week. And like kind of Aaron was saying there, Dublin up at half-time, Kildare take full control in the second half. But again, it's hard to read too much into it, considering it wasn't Dublin's strongest team or even their second strongest team, I'd say. So, but look, fair play to the two of them. It's a chance to get a bit of silverware at the start of the year, which is no harm, I suppose, for team confidence and team bonding or whatever. But yeah, I won't be reading too much into it, to be honest.
Exactly. So, and look at the other football pre-season results this weekend. Galway beat Leitrim 219 to 14 points in the Connacht FBD League. Also in the FBD League, Mayo beat Roscommon on a eyebrow-raising scoreline, 22 points to 1-6. I looked at the two teams there. Like Roscommon had a full forward line, the likes of Dara Craig and Dermot Murta and Jack Tumblesy, who played very well in the Sigerson Cup during the week. And they got battered, really. To be fair, Mayo had a very good team out, so maybe that was the main catalyst for that. In the McKenna Cup, Donegal beat Antrim 115 to 7 points, but will that result stand? I'm not sure, because of players not supposed to be playing and things like that. Monaghan beat Fermanagh 117 to 38 as well, and so did Tyrone. They got a win as well against Down, 18 points to 111. In the McGrath Cup, Cork and Limerick ended 15 points to Cork, 3-11 to Limerick. I was at this game, and look, Limerick played a better team than us. James Knox was playing, Danny Neville, Colin McSweeney came on as well, Jeffrey Alford in goal. Like, they did have much better players than us. Cork made 13 changes from their game against Tip during the week. It was a second string team more than anything, and John Clears made it abundantly clear Cavan is the main aim in the Alliance League, or the National Football League. So that would be the main thing from a Cork point of view. And this result of the McGrath Cup, before I get your thoughts on the rest of the football games, Liam, Kerry 127, Waterford a point. Like, stop the lights. Stop the lights. Like, Tony Brosnan got 115 today. Like, Tony Brosnan 115, Waterford a point. Like, this is, I know it's pre-season, but like, even looking at that result, Efi Fitzgerald has a huge job in his hands here.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I was at the Offaly game today, but I checked the scoreline. I was just going through Scorebio and checking the scorelines, and I saw that, and I was like, that can't be right. Like, I know Kerry are Kerry, and I know Waterford aren't exactly strong in football, but I was like, that cannot be right. That cannot be the score. 20 points to 1 at halftime. They scored 1 point in this game. And they scored it after the 12th minute as well. So they went 59 minutes of this game without scoring.
Yeah.
Like there's no David Clifford there. There's no Paudie Clifford there. I don't think Sean O'Shea played. Yeah. If those two were there, no. The only thing is, that could have been a day where the two of them wouldn't have to score a lot, where you could get other lads maybe scoring possibly. But yeah, I feel bad for Waterford. You can't help but feel sorry for them. Yeah, but, poor Paul has a really tough job in his hand this year. And look, without giving spoilers away, I don't expect much from Waterford this year anyways in the football championship. But yeah, that's not a great start for them. I can tell you that, to the year. And I'd say they're not looking forward to the year already after that result.
Peter asking two very good questions, actually. Was that Waterford's minor team? You might think so, but I looked at it. Cúilín Walsh was playing, so I don't think it was. I think it was genuinely their first team. Apparently it was their under 14 team.
Oh my god.
Oh, Peter's going lower here. Like, this is no.
Nah, lads, we can't be doing this, lads. Jesus.
And one more, to be fair, this is a good question. Was this Watford score a point from from play or free? I checked on Scorpio. I did check it before going on. It was from play.
Yeah.
So at least they had a score from play. I'll put it that way. But no, that was a tail chasing result. I'll put it that way. And imagine if the two Cliffords were playing, it would be just absolutely it would be mouth-watering, embarrassing occasion there from a Watford point of view. But looking at the hurling anyway, in the Munster Hurling League, surprisingly closer than I thought this one. Tipperary 116, Kerry 17. And I looked at Tip's team during the week. It was a good team. So it's Watford in the Senior Hurling League final instead of Tipperary. Tipperary didn't beat Kerry by enough today. So are they bothered? I'm not sure, are they, to be honest. I'm really not. Look at the other results as well in the Keogh Cup and the Walsh Shield. So the Walsh Shield semi-finals, Kilkenny beat Laois 217 to 10 points, and Kildare beat Antrim 17 points to 210. So Kildare and Kilkenny will come up against each other in the Walsh Shield final. That should be an interesting occasion there with Brian Dowling in charge of Kildare. Down beat Meath in the Keogh Cup round 2, 115 to 16 points. And then in the Walsh Cup semi-finals, Dublin beat Westmeath 324 to 214, and Galway beat Offaly 222 to 16 points. So a tough day again from an Offaly point of view, Liam, there. But Dublin and Galway in the Walsh Cup final, I suppose a good workout for both of them teams. I think it's next weekend, is it?
Yeah, I believe it's next weekend. And yeah, look, it should be it's next Saturday evening. So a good workout for the two of them. Yeah, look, an impressive win for Dublin. They were fairly dominant at halftime. I believe they were 3-12 to 11 points up at halftime. So they were very much in the driving seat at that point. You had Cian O'Sullivan, who finished with 1-3. Ollie Gaffney, who I rate very highly as well, scoring 4 points. David Keogh scoring a goal and 2 points. Conor Donoghue as well, back in midfield, scoring a goal and 4. It's interesting, Brian Hayes and Conor Donoghue, although Brian Hayes seemed to go off early enough in the day, but the two of them linking up in midfield could be a potential for the season as well. Neil Clerkin playing, David Lucy playing, Paddy Smith, John Bellew. So Dublin had a relatively strong team out there. They didn't even use the likes of Diarmuid O'Dooling today or anybody like that. Donald Burke got some minutes under his belt as well, which is good from their perspective. Conor Loreen didn't get minutes either. So, they have plenty in the tank. They'll probably use them again next weekend. So, it's a good victory from a Dublin perspective. With us, look, again, it was a lot of our younger players, I feel, probably were the best players today. No, Adam Screeney wasn't due to play today. He was named at number 36. He played Fitzgibbon the other night. You have to manage these lads. You can't be, throwing them into these types of games after playing. Now, I know Dan Burke played Fitzgibbon the other night, and one or two other lads as well played Fitzgibbon, and they were playing today, but you can't play everybody. You need to be managing. And Adam Screeney had a bad injury last year, so I suppose they're trying to manage him as well as a few other lads as well. Like Charlie Mitchell didn't play today. You had players like Lee Kavanagh didn't play today. Oisin Kelly only played a couple of minutes. Killian Sampson wasn't there today. So, it's not the be all or end all, to be honest with you. Look, you had Jason Rabbit, who had a very good game. Aaron Nyland played very impressive. Got a couple of nice scores, to be fair to him as well. So look, Galway overall were the better side, and they deserved the victory in the end. From our perspective, look, Dan Burke had an exceptional game, to be fair to him. Turgainen looked very promising as well in the half forward line. There was some good work by Cathal King in the middle of the park as well. Look, overall, I thought Ben Miller as well, a fullback, I thought had a fantastic game, to be fair to him. First game there for the Offaly seniors, a fullback, I thought he did very well. Liam Hoare pulled off some good saves as well. So look, there are positives to take from the game. Obviously, look, not the be all or end all. We'll have bigger games to come in 2 weeks' time with the game against Kilkenny down in Nolan Park. But yeah, look, we'll have to. Yeah, that's James Mahan, who hopefully doesn't have an injury going into the league. Look, if he was injured for the league but he was back for the championship, then obviously you'd rather that. But at the same time, you don't want anyone injured, and especially not a player of his quality. But look, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, good workout for the lads today. For Galway, Dublin, it'll be an interesting final. Galway had a few experienced players out today. They had Tom Monaghan, I believe, playing, and Aaron Nyland playing. Evan Nyland came off the bench. Like I mentioned, Dahi Burke was midfield. So TJ Brennan was brought on. So they did play some experienced players. Conor Whelan was sat a few rows beside us. He wasn't obviously talked out today. Look, a good workout for Galway. It'll be an interesting game between them and Dublin next week in the build-up to the start of the league campaign.
Yeah, exactly. So it should be an interesting game, and no doubt about it as well. Rodgers is saying Hi lads, hope all is good. Yeah, thanks brothers for that. But the show is coming to an end now, so if you've missed anything, go back and you can stream it on any of the 5 channels. But that is a wrap for this week's edition in terms of looking at the Club All Ireland finals and looking at the pre-season competitions as well. Peter saying here, great review and discussion, lads. Thanks a million. Have a great week. See you on Thursday at 8, and we will see you at the same time as well. And congratulations to all involved in Kilbrittain, to Upper Church Durban, to Ghaeltacht, and to Ballymcgilligan, who all won All Ireland titles this weekend as well. Thanks to Liam for coming onto the show. Thanks to Aaron for coming onto the show. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff as well for Cúilín Media as well. So good plans en route in the next few weeks as well. So stay tuned for that. And until the next show, which Peter said will be on at 8 p.m. on Thursday evening. See you then. Take care and have a lovely week.
Instinct.